So first up today is Mike Turini. He's the Chief Operations Officer at Acceleware. Mike hopes that as we move forward, we can get past partisanship and start looking at the system as a whole. He's where he is today because of a transformative experience that he had with the team at Acceleware when they realized the true potential of the technology that they had developed. And I'll let him tell you more about it now.
Thanks, Julie. Hello, everybody. Thanks for your time, for being here today. I'm going to start off and say anybody who's been involved in a startup, a new tech development company, or that kind of environment will understand that I had better plans to not have my script in my hand this week. But I'm going to use that for a little bit of reference as we go through things. So thanks for being here. So the key theme for my talk today goes back about 5 years. My wife and I were sitting at the dinner table with our kids, and we happened to be a rare occasion, but we were talking about news and climate change, world events. And my stepdaughter said, well, none of that really matters. The world's going to blow up in 50 years. This isn't going to work. And we were pretty stunned. So we sat there in silence for a few minutes, looked around the table, asked my son, do you agree? He said, God, yes. So we were pretty floored and realized two things. Number one, hopelessness. So our kids, their peers, and that generation, their opinion on the state of the world and what can be done is way worse than we thought. And number two, we were doing a pretty bad job of communicating what we do every day at work to our kids. So since then, we've improved that. We've talked to them a lot more, and we see now they have some hope. They're still concerned, but they see hope. They see that technologies like ours and others can really bring some material change into the world and help. So that leads me to what I'm here to talk to you about today. So Acceleware has an audacious goal. If you can read this, you can see that we want to be a global leader in decarbonizing industrial heating. So we're going to accomplish this through a technology we've developed that we call the Clean Tech Inverter, or CTI. And I'm going to start out with an analogy in the energy transition space. I'm going to use an analogy of Tesla. So Tesla's a great example of electrification. They're helping make the shift from a combustion engine to an EV. In doing that, they're getting rid of emissions because they're stopping the use of fuel, but they're also driving up efficiency in a massive way. So going from a combustion engine sitting around 30% energy efficiency to an EV at over 80%. And we think that's fundamental to the entire cause of the energy transition, to make sure we're doing things efficiently, not just cleaner. So when we look at something like that example, the transportation sector, we've got a pretty climate change aware group here, and I think we all know transportation's a big piece, but maybe it's a quarter total of our global emissions. Other pieces cover 3/4 of that pie. So industrial heating, what we're talking about today, it runs a thread through all of those sectors, really. So I'm going to give some examples for context here. Things like crop drying and bulk solids drying. If you think of things from every slice of bread you eat, every grain product, corn product, dog kibble, cat kibble, protein powder, supplements, all those food products need drying before they get to market, and they need drying coming off the field so that the yields go up and we can continue to produce the volume of food we do today. Another example is commercial building heat. So if you think of any hospital, school, office building, or a big facility, they all tend to use coal, gas, oil-fired boilers to deliver heat to those facilities. And the last example I'll give is industrial processes. That can be anything from mining to steel making to concrete to glass fabrication. All of them need massive amounts of heat to run those processes. And that heat, so far, mostly comes from combustion. That's heat that we can efficiently electrify. And again, efficiently is a word I'm going to come back to throughout the talk. We can not only replace the fossil fuel combustion, but we can typically cut the energy input in half. So similar to the EV and Tesla, we can reduce the cost and energy inputs while eliminating emissions at the same time. So that's a pretty big space when you think about the 3/4 of the emissions around the world that touches. So I want you to think about that, and we'll keep going through the examples here. So I've talked about us eliminating emissions and using this Clean Tech Inverter. So what is it? So the Clean Tech Inverter itself is a patent-pending radio frequency energy heat inverter technology. It's an engine, electrification engine that can provide reliable and scalable heat. It can run on demand, and it can support intermittent power sources. So when we talk about a lot of these sectors, they make the list of hard to decarbonize sectors. We can decarbonize those, put in cleaner energy, and displace that fossil fuel combustion heat. Another major application is that we can produce hydrogen from pyrolysis, also color flavored as turquoise hydrogen. So we think that integration of RF energy into the pyrolysis reaction could drive the most efficient and scalable hydrogen production around the world. We recently announced a collaboration with Aurora Hydrogen out of Edmonton to integrate our clean tech inverter energy with their reactor technology. Again, we see this driving the lowest energy input, lowest cost hydrogen, period. It's something that, because of the flexibility of the electronics, it can scale up or down. It can operate on a distributed or centralized basis. So I know there's a wide range of opinions on what the hydrogen economy will or won't be, but regardless, there's a big role to play for hydrogen, and we think we can be a part of that. So the clean tech inverter can deliver heat to all of these things without fossil fuel combustion. Like Tesla and the EV, the CTI can offer a lower cost, more efficient path to net zero. When we look at all those threads and all those sectors that we touch, when we add those up, we think that covers roughly 50% of global emissions today. Now, I'm certainly not saying we can take that all down to zero, but if you look at each of those slices and every place where you're using fossil fuel to make heat on an industrial scale, we can decarbonize those processes while also reducing costs. So a big factor is on the adoption side. There are electric technologies in a lot of those spaces that could be used, but they don't tend to be because gas burning is cheaper. We can put less energy in and lower cost than gas burning. So I'm going to shift to why the CTI is novel. So we developed this technology with GE Global Research. To our knowledge, there's nothing like it in the world today in terms of scale and efficiency. We can operate at over 98% conversion efficiency of electricity in to RF energy out, and then delivering that into any of those processes or reactions. That energy is only turned into heat when it hits the material we're trying to heat. So very low losses and very high efficiency. It can run on intermittent power very easily. It's more like a dimmer light switch. You want it on high, you put it on high. You want it on low, you put it on low. That's great for the use of renewable power. It's also great for the greening and balancing of the grid, allowing people to put lowest cost power into low value processes and save the high value power for peak demand off the grid. Again, efficiency is critical, so that's a piece I want to keep coming back to. Being able to operate efficiently, deliver that energy where it's needed and when it's needed is key. And a staple is not my best idea. So how did we get here? How did we end up with the CTI? Interestingly enough, our journey started with an effort to use RF energy to cleanly produce oil sand and heavy oil deposits. What we expected to take 3 years in that space has taken 10, but we are now in a pilot with that technology up near Lloydminster, Alberta, proving that we can operate this technology. It's been running for 6 months straight, and it's going to deliver that kind of efficiency and potential for emissions reduction. It uses zero water, zero solvent, and of course, as clean as that power source is, that's how clean that heavy oil production could be. While that project continues, we believe it's very important. We're now excited to work on these other CTI applications in drying, heating, and hydrogen production. So, back to decarbonizing industrial heat. That's what we're about. We're passionate about decarbonization. And we don't want to just bring hope, we want to bring material results. We want to help in Alberta and Canada, but we want material results around the world. Today, I'm hoping to get your help. So, the energy transition, I think you would maybe all agree, can be confusing, nebulous, and daunting. We've been working on this for 10 years. We'd like to say we've tried every door, we've pushed on every elevator button, every meeting we can do, and we all have flat faces to prove it from running into brick walls. But we're still here, we're still going. And what we're trying to accomplish is to push transformative change. So big companies tend to be slow. They move slowly. Small companies can be nimble. They don't have the funds to invest. But we're trying to break through those barriers and drive transformative adoption of innovation like ours. So here's where I'm asking for your help. We were able to get our kids to open their minds to a little bit of hope. And what we're looking for today is to turn this into a bit of a flash mob of networking. So we hope that if you like our story, you can talk about it with other people you see at the show. You can talk about it at work. You can make introductions to people you know in industries you think might have a need for this kind of technology. You can even bring it up and talk about it at the dinner table or with friends or family, because who knows what any one of those discussions might bring to elevate the potential of this kind of technology. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you'll check us out. If you'd like to learn more, come and talk to me afterwards. Check us out on LinkedIn. Follow us there. We're a public company. Ticker symbol AXE on the TSX Venture, so you can learn about us there, and on our website, acceleware.com. Thanks for your time today.